Yeah.
Welcome to VIPs Only Podcast. We have a special guest here today. Yeah, we have exciting events coming up. This weekend, we have a great weekend coming up. But before we do get started, let's introduce some of the guests for today. My name is Tablang. To my right is Mr. Fred Villagonzalo.
What's up?
And here we have Mr. James Lopez.
Welcome.
Welcome, guys.
Excited.
And now we will have Fred now introduce the special guest for this afternoon.
Exactly. I am so honored to mention that we have a special guest today. Our special guest is coming from all the way from Texas.
That's right.
And of course, this gentleman here has been in the industry for several years now. I believe his background, his experience, his knowledge in this field it's probably hundreds and hundreds of years of experience put together in his brain. So I just wanted to let you know that this gentleman here, I've known him since I was a junior high, I believe. So it's been some time. Has not aged a bit. So he has tremendous amounts of hobbies that we enjoy watching, especially enjoy going with him. So he is an owner of Freedom Equity Group, and this gentleman is Ron Blumenkemper. How you doing, Ron?
Thank you.
How's it going, Ron? Thank you for being here.
Glad to be here. What a beautiful day it is.
It definitely is.
Sunny California.
Yeah, it's very sunny. It's actually like, it feels like it's 100 degrees outside, but at least we're in an air conditioning room, right?
Yeah.
You should be in Texas to be 200 degrees.
Oh my God.
Probably. But the good thing about it is that we enjoy the weather here as much as we do getting the pleasure of having some text in here.
Yes.
So I guess we'll start with a question for our guest today. We wanted to see if he can share some information or maybe some background on how he got into this business.
Yeah, so typically the goal of the podcast is so that people or our viewers, listeners can hear kind of like a personal story, because we only see successful people usually on stage, that people like already made it, but they didn't knew the struggles, what you've been through, the success and things like that. So the first question is the story, how you started. Was it this your career at the time, or what was your degree or something like that? And then what was the turning point that you chose this path on the financial industry?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Fred, you and Anita have been with us, I guess, maybe the longest.
Yep.
Been very faithful and loyal for years. Ace, you just came on the scene and just exploded into close to $500,000 in income in almost no time. And James, you and your mom are killing it too. So it's an honor for me to be here.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
As far as the question, a little bit of my background, I don't want to bore anybody because I was in the business right out of college. I went into the insurance business, and I went into a different kind of business. I was in the property and casualty business, and I was lucky because I had some guys that I knew from school, from playing sports, that wanted me to come after college and join them in their business. Excuse me one second. Let me turn this off. I apologize.
That's okay.
No, it's all good.
So I decided to do that, and I started not knowing a lot about that business either, but they walked me through it. And I went to a seminar once, and there was a guy on stage that had made $500,000. Now, that's back in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. You think about it, $500,000 in the 70s is probably like $5 million.
That's right.
Yeah.
And he was telling people how to become successful. And I was young and green, so I took notes. And he said, well, every Monday morning I open up the yellow pages and I start calling at least 100 people. And I thought to myself, surely he doesn't do that. But anyway, long story short, I went back home and started doing that. Just call them.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about what to say. You'll learn what to say as you go. And within 2 years, I had done so much business that the guys came to me and said, we're going to make you a partner of the firm. So I stayed there for 15 years. I'd done a lot of community work, president of the Chamber of Commerce, Little League, Lions Club, Rotary Club, all the things that most people in that business do to meet people. And after 15 years, I was beginning to get burned out. I had averaged a couple people a day I'd sold stuff to. I had a lot of referrals, and I was just worn out. And a guy came in one day and was telling me about I needed to go to a seminar of his, talking about a concept, and his concept was recruiting people and training them to do what he was doing.
Right.
And so I went, and I got up and left about halfway through it. I said, this isn't for me. I knew I wasn't a public speaker at the time. I didn't like it, and getting up in front of people. So he came down the next day and said, you'd probably be pretty good in our business if you'd get rid of your ego, because you're in the people business, you just don't know it. He said, the difference between me and you is you fish with a pole, I fish with a net. And so I started out kind of as a dare. And the thing that got me really interested was the guy was making, now this is back in the mid-'80s when this happened, because I'd been 15 years in PNC business. My best year was about $60,000 in income, which is like a couple $100,000 a day. And so this guy showed me one of his checks, and I was on the bank board where he banked. So I went over there and pulled his bank records. And the guy was averaging $80,000 a month.
Wow.
You can't sell that much stuff by yourself.
That's right.
In the market. So I said, well, he's on to something. So I kind of went to work with him, and I started out, and I loved the competition. I loved to get in there. But it was all about building other people, not just selling. So I was kind of naive to that, so I broke that company's sales record the first month and did for about 4, 5, 6 years after that. The problem with it is I was going to meetings where guys were making more a month than I was making a year, and I couldn't believe it. I said, how could they work as hard as I did? They couldn't.
That's right.
And then one of them started befriending me and said, hey, you're doing it all wrong. He said, you're going to be doing the same thing 20 years from now. And he was right. Same thing 15 years later I was doing when I started. Chasing down people, trying to get them to buy something. And I really didn't have time to build relationships.
Yeah.
Because if you did that, you go out of business.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and I started getting with friends of mine that weren't doing what they wanted to do yet in life. Sandwich shop, game wardens, guys I played football with in college. Just a lot of guys that hadn't got, or they had the dream when they got out, starry-eyed, and the corporate world kind of beat them up. And by that I mean, they were promised some stuff. They'd worked their tail off. One of them got passed over for a raise when he made the company a lot of money. All the things that people happened to them in the corporate world. And so I started inviting them in. I was part-time. I stayed part-time for 11 months because I had a business to run. I had employees. I couldn't quit my job and do this.
Yep.
And a strange thing happened my 11th month. I made as much in 1 month as I made a year after 15 years. And most of that came off other people's efforts that I had trained to do what I was doing. So I figured if you do a good job, you get paid good. If you don't, you don't. So I followed their system, and their system led me to what they call their inner circle.
Okay.
Top 25 people. So out of 1 million people that company had recruited, I was the number one sales guy. So I was now trying to catch the builders in that thing that were building big agencies all across the United States using the same system, same concept. Well, the guy sold the company. When he did, my partners and I decided to start our own company. Mm-hmm. The difference was, contractually, I didn't like a lot of these companies that were like that because their contract always read, if you read the fine lines, and most people should read a contract, that whatever you did, they owned. They owned your clients, they owned your people you trained, your agents, all the things that you had worked your tail off to build, they could say goodbye and they owned them.
Yeah.
And that was disheartening to me. So when I decided to quit, I went through all the things you go through with the people that I had made a ton of money for coming kind of after me. And I said, if we ever get a chance to build a business of our own, we're not going to do that. We're going to have a contract where people are free to go and come if they want. They could take their team, they can take their clients.
Yes.
And we can shave in the mirror at night.
Yes.
Because money is one way to judge people. Another way to judge people is how many successful people did you help in their life. And so that was what we wanted to build, and we started with that concept and dream not many years ago. And we made it very successful. We sold that company for a lot of money, and I had pretty much retired. Mm-hmm. And Petro called me, said, you need to get back in the game. I said, why? He said, there's a paradigm shift, and that word always gets my attention, especially in the industry, because it's the same old for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the paradigm shift was you don't have to die to collect the face amount. You can get up to 90% or so of the face amount with the living benefit riders, heart attack. So I said, what you just told me is you can become your own beneficiary while you're still alive. And I got to thinking of the billions of dollars of insurance in force today that don't have that type of coverage. Almost 180 million people. So with that in mind, I said, man, there's no way. Even if we did 1 million sales a year, there's 180 million people that have the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
And the biggest person like us in the industry only does about 200,000 sales a year.
Yeah.
So even at 1 million a year, it's an insatiable market.
Exactly.
You can't penetrate it.
Yeah.
You can't hire enough people to help you replace the bad stuff out there. So it was an easy pitch for me. You got the new kind, the old kind, and you go from there and explain what we do to them.
Yeah.
So we started really doing a couple million a year, and all of a sudden we started growing. And our system just promoting people that were successful. We've even got people in our company that make more than the owners. Think about that.
Yeah.
I've never worked at a company where you could make more than the owner.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we built that system like that because, to me, success has a lot of security in it when you have people making that kind of money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean,
anyway.
it keeps your company very happy and of course productive, because now they're seeing that we have that opportunity. There's no one really at the top controlling. It's everyone's in this company together. So it's kind of like.
And the thing about the life insurance, I was in the property and casualty business, and it's a headache. You always got claims. You always got people calling you about things. And the life insurance was a lot easier to me because that's the foundation of people's financial house.
Yeah.
Is they should have 90 days income put up so they don't have an emergency panic management. They should have life insurance so if something happens to them early, right? That's the foundation, and they should start saving money and paying themselves first a portion of what they make. And so that concept's true today, and the thing about life insurance, it's a vehicle that's evolved to cover all the bases.
Yep. That's right.
So that's what I liked about it when Petro told me about the new type. It made sense to me, and I jumped in feet first because you know what? We can't hire enough people to do it. So the entrepreneurs have an open range ahead of them for this opportunity.
Exactly.
And for the right person, it's the greatest opportunity in the world. And when I say right person, I mean the kind of people that are looking to start their own business, roll their sleeves up, coachable, and will do the things with our system that make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, and what we appreciate with the owners as well is because you guys are down to earth, that you're still out there. You know, in some companies or even as a job or an employee, you barely see the CEO, you know, or the owners. And here, you guys actually do the trainings with us. You know, now you're sitting here and we're doing podcasts. So it's really amazing and humbling just to see, you know, that the owners are there for the people, you know.
Yeah, you keep us very connected. You know, definitely there's not that much CEOs or owners of companies that are connected to the field, and you guys are definitely connected to it. And that's probably why we're so productive. You know, Freedom Equity Group is gotten to such a different level. It's not only the agents themselves, but it's also the leaderships of this company, and that's probably the biggest reason why we're thriving through this industry. And I know we're going to be definitely the number one agency worldwide, hopefully, but I know nationwide we will be for sure.
When people learn what we've got, there's already a lot of chatter out there in the industry because I don't know of any company, I've been in the business since 1970, that's a long time. I don't know of any company that's ever shared in what we share in. Most guys like us, they get the distribution side, the overrides, renewals, all the stuff. The reason I got into the insurance business in the first place was persistent residual renewals. If you did a good job, sooner or later you could retire.
You can retire.
Yeah.
And then as you get older in the business, you find out that your block of business, if it's profitable, is worth a whole lot more money to these insurance companies than you can imagine. So we wanted to do enough business that we could get into the manufacturing side of the business, where we owned our block of business and could share that profit with the agents. And nobody else does that in the United States.
Yeah.
They go at some point, get their planes and their big homes and all that, and they forget about the agents. The companies I worked for, a couple of guys became billionaires, and they never shared it with us to help them build the company.
Yeah.
And that was always a bad take with us. They could have shared some of it, and they didn't. So with that philosophy and actually doing it, it's going to get a lot of traction. I was on a three-way call yesterday with a guy, and he worked for another big company. And I told him, I said, when I was talking, I said, you really can't do what we do. He said, what do you mean? I said, your contract you signed says you're captive. They own you, all your agents, all your clients.
Yeah.
And they'll come after if you leave. I'm sorry to tell you that, but you're worth a lot more than you think you are. And I showed him some of the results of what we've done with people doing as much as him, getting $200,000 and $300,000 check bonuses in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And I said, just think about that. So there'll be more coming as we grow, and I think we're going to do something special with our new partners that are Wall Street, mainstream, billions of dollars.
Wow.
They've seen us. They think we're one of the guys was president of New York Life that's on their board. He thinks that, he said, you guys are like New York Life when they started. You're going to become a dominant player.
Yep.
Wow.
Better
Those are
products,
inside scoop.
better compensation system.
Sounds good.
You're sharing with the agents stuff that they never see or get before.
That's right.
And so that's going to serve itself very well for us in the future.
Definitely.
And the good thing is too is like, like we were talking about, like you earn good, because of what we do, but at least you can still sleep peacefully at night because the product we offer really serves a purpose for the people that getting it. Unlike other companies that sells the wrong product, you get paid good, you can buy your house, live the dream, but does the client benefit from what you're selling, At least in here, it's a mutual relationship, not just in our pocket or our dreams or what our needs are, but at least also the people that we're helping. So
Absolutely.
So that's a good thing about that one.
Definitely.
I mean, the vision we had was to build wealth for our guys that work with us and our clients.
Yeah.
And do it in a way that put it in a tax-free environment when they retire, because taxes are going up.
Yeah.
And do it with a product that covered all the bases, because the most valuable asset any family really has is their income. If you don't believe that, try doing 2 or 3 months without it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So if we could protect the income whether they live, die, or get sick, at the same time, let them go out and share this story with their friends, closest friends and family, and help them, not sell them, but help them understand what they could have.
Yeah.
Sometimes for the same or less money, then we could make a big impact in our communities.
Yeah. So do you have any questions, Ace?
Yeah, so I love the concept. Number one, that the owners themselves, the company themselves, is willing to share it with the agents.
Yeah.
And we get so many guests coming in. All very happy. Come with different success. But the way that we like to share this is because there's a lot behind the scenes. With you specifically, what were some challenges or maybe some obstacles as you were getting in the industry that maybe you can share with us, and then for the listeners that can help them when they're going through a rough time?
I guess the fact that I had been there and done that, and I knew the challenges people would have. And so you can empathize with people that are going through it and say, look, it's not going to be easy to make $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million. By the way, we do have people making over $4 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
That were making half that at other marketing companies. And so doing the same amount or less business. So I don't have to prove the comp system's great. But when you look at what it takes to create the back office for this, the challenges are paying people with all the different levels of things that we have on time, every time, all the time.
Yeah.
So to build a computer system was $1 million and make sure it functioned so that you can do the licensing in all the states, pay everybody properly. We have agents that have sold policies in 35 different states with Zoom. Think about that. Some of them 3 in one day. That would never happen in our industry before.
Yeah.
So that technology we had to get up to speed with to make sure we stayed current. And a lot of people haven't moved to that yet.
Yeah.
Some people are still sitting at home. They don't realize we got people that do 60 sales a month with Zoom.
Yeah.
Personal. Think about that through the training program that we've got. And so if you look at the company, one product, and the product isn't the insurance, the product is the opportunity.
Yes.
And one system. And if you work that system and really understand it, You can do whatever you want and go wherever you want in this business. And it's amazing. I've done it. I didn't believe it. It started working the first 3-4 years. I'm down there baling the hay like everybody else, thinking it's never going to work, never going to work. All of a sudden, I start getting these other checks in. And all of a sudden, I said, well, maybe it's not so bad.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I go back and do a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then pretty soon it gets to be almost obnoxious. Once you've been at it 4 or 5 years, putting up with this, you start getting checks that most people could only dream of.
That's right.
On a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look at our leader sheet. Every week we have people making 90, 100 grand a week.
Yeah.
Yes.
A week. That's
And that's
amazing.
Or people making a year.
Yeah.
In a week.
We got new people just been with us 90 days that are making 100.
Yeah.
Like I think your brother
Yes.
made 50 grand in 3 months.
Yes.
Part-time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where can you go get a part-time job to make that kind of money?
Exactly.
Nowhere.
The guy
that-
you got that's a CPA.
Yeah.
75,000 his first 3 months part-time.
Yep.
That's 25,000 a month.
Yes.
Know any CPAs that might want a 25,000? Not everybody's going to do that. Okay, let me qualify that.
Yeah.
It's going to take somebody that learns the system, learns the products, and will go teach others the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing you brought up too. Is like like anybody else, you had doubts too. Like you had doubts with the system, but you look at it in a different perspective. That you took it as a challenge. It's kind of like I'm gonna prove this won't work.
Well, I had the fortune of meeting guys that were making $1 million or so a year back when I started, as green as everybody.
Yeah.
And because I met them and sized them up pretty quick, because
Yeah.
I'd been in the people cut business,
Yeah.
I kind of said, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way they're going to outwork me, I figured, right?
Yeah.
And I understood, and when I started understanding it's not you working, it's working smart, helping other people achieve what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
And once you get 2 or 3 guys around you that believe like you believe, you really can conquer your city, and from there you can go all over the United States. And that's what a lot of guys.
It was kind of the same for us too, right? Like when we were starting, when we attended our first convention too, it's like if they can do it, if they can be on the stage, 5-minute, 2-minute speakers, we can also do that. Although we didn't expect that, that's a lot of people you're gonna talk
Yeah,
in front.
exactly.
But yeah, it was a motivation.
Yeah.
Well,
definitely.
one of the things was, the 2-minute speakers, how you guys had the company set up. That first convention,
Yeah.
I was telling you, like the first convention I went to, I was like, man, like it's like sizing it up. It's like, wow, if they can do this, they're making what, 6 figures, 7 figures? They're making this much, and if I can't do that, like I will have the biggest doubt for myself. So that convention, the way that the 2-minute speeches, the way that the system is created for everybody, is an even playing field. It's just whoever wants it more.
Yeah.
Whoever wants it more. Whoever can outlast the other.
Yeah, because we hear stories from there. They came from another country. Some of them lost their country. Some of them, working minimum wage job, but now they're earning 6 figures.
Yeah,
so
there's
what's
some like janitors, right?
Yeah. What's my excuse now? So it opens up your mind to other opportunity that you can, try it. What's the worst thing can happen if you try it?
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of people, fear is the thing that knocks most people out when it comes to really doing something special for them and their family. And fear of failure is a big reason.
Yes.
But when you can show them that you got a gal that was a maid and you got a guy that's a doctor and the maid makes more than a doctor, it all gets down to how bad do you want it.
Yeah,
And will you follow the system and be coachable?
that's true.
Because people that are willing to learn are unstoppable.
That's right.
The challenge that most people, a lot of them I talk to, is they keep dragging their past with them.
Yes.
And it keeps them from a bright future because they think so highly of themselves, what they did in the past. We don't care what you did in the past.
Yeah.
Past is the past.
Everybody here is going to start the same.
Yep.
We're going to knock you around, see what you're made of, and see if you got the goodies. And that's what it's all about. And in a free enterprise system, I've always learned that you take care of the people in the trenches because they're the ones building your company. It's just the opposite in the corporate world.
Yeah.
They take care of
Correct.
the guys at the top.
Yeah.
And I had a disdain for that because if it wasn't for us, all these big companies, Ivory Towers, we're the ones that built these companies.
Yeah.
So we recognize that. We want to reward the guys that help us build it. And we know we're going to do something special because we're the only ones that do what we do.
Yep, that's true. I mean, definitely unique in the industry. We're the only ones that actually are willing to share to the field, and that's the biggest thing that we offer for this industry. So
And it was proven last year when the pandemic hits, a lot of the corporate world lay off people, and you cannot say, I have
Yeah.
mortgage to pay or things
imagine
like that.
people were at home, probably don't have a job, don't know what the future looks like, and we pay what, $8+ million that year.
We paid that in bonuses, but we grew 32%.
Yeah, and we were getting paid more.
So I don't know how. And we talked the companies into almost financing everybody into the business with the what we do and submit an issue.
Yeah.
If they issue it fast, it's like, I can finance you into the business. All you got to do is introduce me to people. I'll do all the work.
Yeah.
And if you'll listen and learn as I'm doing this, you can translate that to others. Because we're not going to do others for you. You're going to do it.
Yeah.
But we're going to show you the right way to do it if you're coachable and teachable. And if you pay attention, you're going to learn.
Yeah.
And like you were mentioning earlier when we were having lunch too, is like other people are firing people and we're here hiring.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's like what it takes is different. You know, like you were saying at lunch, it's like a lot of people, they have the 8 to 5 and they're not willing to work after 8 to 5. But with our business, you know, we're working. But the good thing about that is it also pays off in the end. And that's what we're looking for. And then I think I remember him saying like why he did the life insurance business was the process. What was the second one? Profitability or renewal?
Yeah, I looked at it, and persistent
yeah.
residual renewals.
Yeah, that's what
and
it
when
was.
you think about that, multiply it times your team that you're getting an override on.
Yep.
It just grows exponentially.
And you leverage. That's leverage of income.
Yes.
I think we've got one guy that's built his renewals up to almost $10 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's so nice. Yeah.
And the good thing about that one is it's not just like money coming in, but those are quality business that you provide for your clients. You know, it's not just like money coming in, but those are the persistency and the consistency of the people that we have because they were trained properly. It's not just like selling product just so I get paid, you know?
Well, it's been proven over the years that people will not normally cancel their retirement program or the protection for their family.
Yeah.
They'll hang on to that to the last.
Yep.
Think about those that might have done away with it during the pandemic and had somebody pass away.
Yeah.
How bad a mistake was that?
That definitely is a big
So
mistake.
there's obstacles in anything you do. This obstacle is yourself, and the fear you place on yourself is what keeps you from going where you want to go.
That's true.
And so once you get that out of your head, and I saw the future because I saw what some of these other guys were doing. They just been doing it longer than I had. And so I figured, you know, I probably can't catch them, but I didn't care.
Yeah.
I could probably get to where they were.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, out of 1 million people in less than 6 years,
Yeah.
I rose above all but 25 of them on income.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because I wanted it more. I worked harder.
Exactly.
That's like the maid. She wants it more than the doctor.
Yeah.
She has no fear because, look, she started down there scrubbing floors.
Exactly.
Where's she going to do? I
Yes.
think we paid that gal $700,000 last year.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. From that to making 700,000. So, you want to ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So we'll do this. I wanted to ask you, what would be a great life lesson or inspiring entrepreneur, like somebody that's coming into our business or our industry, and they're just trying to see where they need to be or how they can become successful? Maybe coming from you, what you can kind of offer or suggest for someone like that.
It's a hard question because we don't have a target market.
No.
People come from all walks of life, from all different countries, different temperaments, talents, convictions.
Yep.
You got to respect all that. And the obstacle would be to really, when you take somebody under your wing, I tell people recruiting to me is kind of easy, but building is like creating a family.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you go look up the definition and Google it, on what it takes to build a great family, discipline, unconditional love, trust, focus. The same things it takes to do that's what it takes to build an organization, and that's not easy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys that are great salespeople, but they're terrible at building a family
Oh, yeah.
because they don't have time.
That's right.
They got to go out there and break the sales records and do this, do that, and then they wake up 15, 20 years like I did down the road, and they realize, what have I done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done all this stuff, and what have I got to show for it? I've got an agency. I could sell it, and fortunately I did sell it. But most people don't have that opportunity.
No.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
And so it's a ladder that most people have that are leaning against the wrong wall.
Yeah.
And so we give them an opportunity. And like I said, for the right person that really wants it, really wants to do something special, wants to get out there, make a difference in his family tree, it's a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
And you might have said, well, you had a great business. I did. But I sure wouldn't make an $80,000 a month after 15 years,
Yeah.
60 a year.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
like $200,000 a day. But
Yeah.
that was about the peak because you can't handle many more
Yeah.
people I was doing.
That's true.
And that's what I saw too as a difference when I was starting in this business. I know I'm not that long yet, but is that it's not just a business, you know, it's a family, you know, from the owners, from the uplines, from the CEOs, things like that. It's a real family, you know. It's not like just a business that I have to meet quotas, things like that. You know, everybody has challenges, but we go through together.
Yep.
So that's something that's different. And one thing also that you always mention is like everybody can recruit, but not everybody can build.
Yep.
And that's the difference about here in
That's
this
a big
company.
difference,
Yeah.
Yeah, I look back. I don't think I had a lot of friends outside the business world because everybody that I was building with was my closest friend,
Yeah.
and they knew it.
That's right.
And I did everything I could to help them succeed. So I left it all on the field for them. They knew it, and I've got guys that have been following me for 40 years.
Nice.
Wow.
If I sell vacuum cleaners, they're going to go sell vacuum cleaners because I did what I said I'd do for them and their family, which raised their expectation. There's a lot of people that think 100,000 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not. 100,000 in the 80s, 30,000 in the 80s will buy you the same thing 100,000 will today.
Yeah.
So if you're making 100, that's like making 30,000 to me
Yes.
back in the 80s,
Yeah.
which was good, but you know, I never dreamed that you could make 100,000 after 15 years. I tried real hard.
Yeah.
And I made it there in no time, and so my job was to build other people that did the same thing.
Yeah.
And if you get 5 or 6 or 7 of them that you go out and get, you can really kind of kick back then.
That's true.
That's what I love about the business. Once you build this thing right, it's like having producing oil wells.
Yes.
Yep.
And since I didn't have any land, I never had an oil well.
Yeah.
But it keeps coming in.
Yeah, I think the key word was what Ron was saying is it's yourself is the obstacle, like making sure that your own self is your fear of failing and everything. So I think like what he was saying with that was if you are starting into this industry or you are a new agent, that's the biggest thing that you're
Never fear of starting over again.
Yeah.
Don't dwell on the past of what it already happened.
Yeah,
right?
and those are a great key. I
Yeah.
mean, that's one of the things I notice when we do have recruits that come in. They think about the past of what they've done and how they've done it before, and they just stick with that. And that's the reason why they don't succeed for the future or their future goal.
Well, most people spend their whole life stopping over and over again.
Yeah,
And they never get to where they want to go. So with this, if you'll come in and focus and really give it everything you got, not
Yep.
forever, for at least 4 or 5 years.
yep,
Because you're not going to build a big business in less than at least
An
4
overnight,
years.
yeah.
People say, I come in. We've had some overnight success, and sometimes we can't find them next year
yeah,
because they found, this is hard building relationships with people.
yep.
You know, so that's part of it. But I tell you, the thing I enjoy the most about the business is seeing other people succeed.
Exactly.
Yes, agree.
I mean, that's definitely something that
Yeah.
that excites me when I see you guys hit that income that you're looking at, and then these two guys are like the young guys in my team now. That we have younger guys.
Yep.
That's in
Even
our
younger
team, so-
coming up.
Now
yeah.
we're feeling
Yeah.
old now.
Yeah, so now they're the old
When
guys.
you look at the financial service industry, it's one of the biggest in the world, and there's billions of dollars in it.
Yeah,
There's 180 million people that got the wrong stuff out there. People are getting ripped off every day by guys that don't know what they're doing.
yeah,
And we show them the proper type things that they should put their money into
Yeah.
yeah,
to protect them, their families, their income.
yeah,
Yes.
And we have the best out there. We've been vetted by some of the biggest corporations in the world.
Yep.
So when a guy says, I want to check you out, I said, well, we just had a company 100 years old, over 100 years old, $50 billion that checked us out. How much harder do you think you can than them?
right.
And by the way, we're number one with them and a couple other.
Yeah,
So people love our system in the industry because it's old, it's tired, it's worn out. Their system isn't working. Guys chasing people down trying to sell them something
Yep.
would love to have what we have so they can get off that treadmill, and we give them an opportunity. So we welcome everybody.
Yep.
But we're really looking for greenies, people from all walks of life that have just built relationships.
Yes.
And so when you start this business, there's some models you need to look at. I like 25 to 55. They could be older and do great, younger and great. Own a home, married, have responsibilities. Those usually are the type people we're looking for.
yep,
People that have threads of success in their fabric of life. Maybe head of the Little League, PTA, coach a Little League team. Some leadership skills somewhere in there that we can exploit for them and show them how we can make that pay off for
that's
them.
right.
Yeah.
And their
definitely.
friends.
That's right.
Yep. Did you want to ask that question that you asked?
Yeah,
That we always
actually,
ask?
that's the last one. But you kind of already mentioned it a little bit, Ron.
yeah.
So, But we want to say, because we say to every single guest, and we love hearing it because every single guest has their own definition. So you probably said it. Actually, I have your quote that you said on the convention, and I think it's going to be the same exact thing you're going to say. But how do you define success?
Freedom.
There you go.
Yeah.
There we go.
That's true. And that's
Same
so simple.
thing Braveheart said before they cut his head off.
Yeah. And that is just such a strong word.
Yeah.
Freedom is everything.
It's how you define it, you personally.
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you define
it
it
could
personally?
be time with your family. It could be financial freedom. It could be a lot of different things to different people. That's why when you build this business, there's one rule you have to always remember. The first rule is either you get it or you don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In anything you do. And by that I mean you have to believe in your heart of hearts that this opportunity will get you everything you want.
Right.
And if you don't believe that, don't do it.
Yeah.
So you get it or you don't. And it's easier to give birth than it is resurrect the dead.
Yeah.
So people that have proven they don't, I just stick with the focus with the guys that do.
Yeah. That's
Then
true.
you create your own environment in this business.
Yeah.
You treat people the way you want to be treated. You teach them how to treat people.
Yeah.
And so there's just some rules in this thing. And one of my rules is, most people look at this thing and they look at it different ways.
Yes.
If we look at the same thing, there's always going to be reality and there's going to be perception. And it's always going to be perception overrides reality. Because you and I may look at this guy, you think he's the greatest guy in the world. I don't think he can make it. But it's our perception that bases not on the reality.
Yeah.
We don't know.
That's right.
So you got to understand perception is the reality.
Yeah.
And once you can get over all the things that may make you quit, somebody says no, big deal. A little
Go
rejection, if that's what got you out of the business, you weren't going to make it anyway.
That's
yeah.
right.
Exactly.
No,
That's
what?
true.
You don't want to retire financially independent? No, you don't want tax-free money? No, you don't want to protect your family and your income if you get sick, die, or live?
Yeah.
All those things, I look at a guy when he says no, he's not really telling me no. What he's saying is, no, I don't believe the guy that brought me. Yeah. So that's why I carefully go over with the guy his list of people, because that's the most valuable asset he brings to this business.
Yeah.
And I want the people he wants to be in business with, not sell.
Yeah.
And I promise him two things when training him. I'll never embarrass him. When we get through, the people we talk to are going to love what you just showed them.
That's right.
That's good. Yeah.
That's
definitely.
it. That's two.
Yeah. I like that word. Freedom. Freedom is it's a big word.
And everyone has their own
Exactly.
definition of freedom as well.
Ron said it's all on you, like how that is. It's freedom with your family or your income. So it's one of those.
That was really one of the things when I first started. I remember I was telling you the first year when I was like, I want to do this because I want to be able to see my kids grow up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Be able to build relationship with my family.
Right.
Where if I was going to keep staying with my same job, I wouldn't be. Me and my wife, we wouldn't spend time with them.
No.
We wouldn't spend time with them.
We've got some nurses that got in this business, and husband and wife. They were making well over $200,000 a year, and they got in this business. And I said, why would somebody like y'all get in this business? And he said exactly what you did. We never saw our kids.
Yep.
Yeah.
We never went to Little League games.
No.
We wanted the freedom to be able to do things with our family, and the money didn't matter. If we knew we had a shot at it, we would work hard enough to replace our income. Guess what? They did.
Yep.
And they've got that freedom. I see pictures of them on Facebook.
Yes.
They're in this park, climbing that mountain, biking here, on a beach somewhere.
Yep.
And that's the freedom that they wanted. And they did that by building a team. But before you built the team, you had to go through the nasties
Yes.
and do what most people quit over. What do you mean the nasties? You got to go out and do the work, put the time in to teach people this business.
Yeah.
And that means you got to get eyeball to eyeball, and now Zoom to Zoom with a lot of people to show them what we have. It's a simple process. You either got the old kind, new kind. You either want taxable or tax-free. That's a no-brainer. But do you have the vehicle
Right.
that when you help a friend, when you show them this business and help them improve their situation, that you can get paid the kind of money that we pay people? Most people don't.
No.
Yeah.
And exactly what you said. This can be done through Zoom.
Yeah.
This can be done through online. It's not just in person.
Yeah, we
Yep.
created a system that even pre-pandemic, even the pandemic even didn't happen, we already prepared for it. Because we've been doing this even before pandemic.
Yep.
But now that pandemic is kind of, going down, but if let's say it continues, we're still here.
Yeah, and we're
So
still
it's pandemic proof.
we're still successful.
Yeah.
I mean,
We had our biggest guy in the company. His sales went up and recruiting went up dramatically during the pandemic. I said, what's the reason? He said, when y'all came out with the Zoom meetings and that, he said, my guys, because we're an ethnic group that came from a different country, family was spread out all over the United States. So my guys were getting on a plane 4 and 5 days a week to go see all the closest friends and family. He said now they can sit there and see them all on Zoom.
Just
and
click a
cover the whole
button.
thing in one day. He said so they went through the scenic. Plus they say the plane rides, the wear and tear on the body, hotel rooms, all that stuff they didn't have to do.
Yep.
And I thought about that. COVID kind of helped us get to the next generation of the way this business ought to be done.
That's true.
Yeah.
And that's been a blessing.
And now there's a reason for people now to even get what we have, just because there's a reason now that they need to. And like we were always talking about during the opportunity meeting, like if you see the commercials now, it's all about our products, because people are scared and there's a need now. There's a niche for the product. Well, we've been doing this for a long time already, right? So, yeah, and then going back to that, the fear is that it's the same drive that people has to use. People fight for freedom. A country fight for freedom.
Yep.
If you overcome that and get freedom, and you succeed as a person as well. And it's the same thing in this business. Is if you're complaining about not seeing your kids, then fight for it.
Yep.
So you can see your kids.
That's
right.
true.
And it's the same mentality you can have, so you can succeed in this business, no matter what. If you're starting or you already been in the business.
We have a call, a builder's call, we call it, once a week. And if people would go back and listen to some of the stories on that, single moms that came here, we had one talk, she had 5 kids, her husband passed away. Nowhere to turn. She's like the phoenix rising up out of the ashes. Because her problem, she turned into an asset by going out and sharing the story of what we did with her friends.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she makes more in 90 days than she used to make a year, just by sharing the story with her friends.
Wow.
And family. And they all saw what she was doing. Now they're being attracted to her. There's a lot of single moms that do really well in this business because it gives them the freedom to do it in the time they want to do it.
That's true.
And it's just amazing to hear some of the stories.
Yeah, it's definitely.
What people have done. And just sharing the story with other people, that's all it is. You're sharing a story. And it works.
Yep.
I really appreciate you guys having me here.
Thank you so
look
much
forward
for
to the
being
next day
here.
or so.
No.
We are very honored to have Ron Blumenkemper for our guest speaker today. We definitely enjoy this time. We got to know him a little bit more, a little background about him and his history and his experience. So we want to thank you again,
Thank you so much.
I
Ron.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
and we'll see you again.
Awesome.